Daisy Kent and boyfriend welcome new addition, Steve, into their home. August 22nd, 2025. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Bachelor Nation news fans. Daisy Kent and her boyfriend have welcomed a new addition to their home, Steve. However, they are so excited to welcome the addition to their home. Daisy Kent is a fan favorite and has been since her time on Joey Graziadei's season of The Bachelor. However, that did not work out for her. She seems to be happier than ever now, though. Keep reading to find out more about this situation and their new addition. Daisy Kent does not find love on The Bachelor. Daisy Kent was on Joey Graziadei's season of The Bachelor. She made it far in the season. During the show, she was also a fan favorite. Daisy has a cochlear implant, as she got super sick when she was an adult and lost a lot of her hearing. She was relatable, sweet, and everyone loved her. However, Joey did not choose her in the end. She was sent home, and fans were hoping to see her as the next Bachelorette. However, she found love outside of the show. She is now dating Thor Herbst, and fans love them together. They seem to be living their best lives, and fans love watching them grow. She and her boyfriend welcome new addition. Daisy Kent and Thor Herbst have welcomed a new addition to their home. Daisy joked that it was a dog. However, it was actually a Roomba vacuum that they named Steve. I love the scheduled walks. She was joking about it being their new dog, but fans loved it. Now everyone wants Thor and Daisy to get a new dog. Maybe Steve will vacuum up the dog hair from their future dog. Fans were not expecting her to show the vacuum when she was trying to name it. She seemed to be ecstatic about the new household item they got. It seems as though Daisy and Thor got a Roomba vacuum. They were ecstatic about this. Daisy pointed out that she loves the scheduled walks. She made a joke about how it was their new dog. However, it was just their new vacuum. Fans love Daisy and her sense of humor. However, fans love their Roombas, so they were loving that Daisy got one. What do you think about this? Do you think they will get a real dog eventually? Sound off in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts on this situation. Daisy awoke to a symphony of tiny paw taps on her bedside table. Steve had discovered her phone charger cable the night before and, apparently, decided it was now his favorite toy. She groaned softly, peering at him through half-lidded eyes. "Steve," she murmured, stretching. The kitten blinked innocently, tail flicking, completely unbothered by her sleepy scolding. Leo, sensing the usual chaos, had already prepared a bowl of breakfast for Steve. "He's got the energy of 3 humans combined," Leo remarked, placing a tiny plate of wet food on the floor. "You might want to eat something before he decides you're part of the menu." Daisy laughed, tugging on a sweater over her pajamas. Okay, you win. Breakfast first, then I'll attempt to survive another day of kitten chaos." Steve dove into his meal with the intensity of a tiny tiger. Watching him, Daisy felt a surge of affection. He was more than a pet. He was a character, a living storybook of curiosity and mischief that somehow brought out the best in both her and Leo. Steve versus the vacuum. One afternoon, Daisy decided it was time to clean. Armed with the upright vacuum cleaner, she began to methodically glide it across the carpet. But Steve had other plans. The moment the vacuum roared to life, Steve's back arched dramatically, fur standing on end. Then, with a daring leap worthy of a circus performer, he attacked it. He batted at the moving hose, hissed at the spinning brush, and attempted to mount the machine like a tiny warrior defending his kingdom. "Leo, come quick," Daisy yelled between giggles. "Steve's fighting the vacuum." Leo arrived just in time to witness the chaos. He bent down, trying not to laugh too hard, and snapped a picture for posterity. This is going to go viral someday. Kitten battles vacuum, the legend of Steve. Daisy rolled her eyes, but couldn't stop laughing. "I don't even care. Let him win. The carpet can wait." Steve, victorious in his own mind, strutted around the living room like a conqueror, his tail high, proud of his heroics. Steve's social debut. A week later, Daisy and Leo decided it was time for Steve's social debut. They had created a small corner in the living room dedicated entirely to him. A plush cat bed, a scratching post, and a basket of toys. Daisy snapped photos, Leo styled the shot, and together they uploaded it to their shared social media account. The response was instantaneous. Friends, family, and strangers alike flooded the post with comments, emojis, and messages of adoration. "Steve is a superstar," one comment read. "He's already stealing hearts." Steve, unaware of his rising fame, nuzzled Daisy's cheek as if to say, "It's okay, I'll accept the attention." Daisy smiled, brushing her fingers through his soft fur. "I think he likes his fans," she said. "Maybe we should start a fan club." Leo chuckled. "Oh, we'll start with snacks and treats, the VIP treatment." Adventures beyond the apartment. Steve's influence extended beyond the apartment walls. One sunny weekend, Daisy and Leo decided to take him to the local park. Daisy carried him in a soft sling, and Leo followed with a leash, just in case Steve decided to explore a bit too ambitiously. At the park, Steve's curiosity was boundless. He sniffed every blade of grass, pawed at the edges of puddles, and, most memorably, tried to climb a particularly sturdy tree. Daisy and Leo watched with equal parts amusement and horror. "You're going to get stuck," Daisy warned. Steve paused mid-climb, as if considering her words, then continued upward with a determination that Leo shook his head in awe. "I swear he's part squirrel," he muttered. By the end of the outing, Steve had made friends with a small terrier named Max, chased a fluttering butterfly, and left paw prints on Daisy's jeans that would forever remind them of that first adventure outside. Steve's first birthday. When Steve's first birthday approached, Daisy and Leo knew they had to make it unforgettable. They transformed the living room into a cat wonderland. Colorful balloons, treats stacked in a tiny tower, and even a little party hat for Steve. "Are you sure he'll tolerate the hat?" Daisy asked skeptically. Steve, for once, seemed almost regal. He allowed the hat to sit atop his head for a full 10 seconds before attempting to shake it off. Daisy laughed, capturing the moment with her camera. They invited friends over to celebrate, though Steve remained the star of the show. Everyone cooed over his antics, and Leo prepared a small cake just for him. Steve sniffed it cautiously, then dove in, leaving frosting on his tiny nose. Daisy couldn't stop laughing. "That's my boy," she said. "Happy birthday, Steve." Steve purred, satisfied with his tiny kingdom and devoted humans. Lessons from Steve. As months passed, Steve became more than just a pet. He was a teacher of life's small joys. Daisy found herself slowing down to watch his antics, appreciating the little things she had always overlooked. The way sunlight hit the living room floor, the comfort of quiet evenings, the warmth of companionship. Leo often remarked, "Who knew a tiny cat could teach us so much about happiness?" Daisy nodded, holding Steve close. "It's more than that," she said softly. "It's love, patience, and laughter, all wrapped up in a little furry package." Steve meowed softly, as if agreeing, then curled up between Daisy and Leo on the couch. The apartment felt complete,
Daisy Kent
warm,
had
and
never
alive.
considered herself a particularly spontaneous person. Her life, structured and comfortable, revolved around her work at the small but vibrant graphic design studio downtown, her weekend yoga classes, and the occasional coffee-fueled marathon of her favorite shows. She liked the predictability of her routines, the small joys of life neatly tucked into schedules. But when her boyfriend, Leo, casually mentioned one sunny Saturday morning that they were about to welcome a new addition to their home, Daisy felt a surge of anxiety and excitement tangled together like fairy lights on a Christmas tree. "New addition?" Daisy repeated, raising a perfectly arched eyebrow while balancing a cup of steaming chamomile tea in her hand. She was perched on the edge of the cream-colored sofa in their shared apartment, the morning light spilling across the living room like honey. "Yes," Leo said, eyes sparkling with mischief and anticipation. He had that look, the one that made Daisy simultaneously nervous and curious. The look he always got when he was about to reveal something absurdly exciting or absurdly ridiculous. "I mean, you're going to love him. Everyone will." Daisy tilted her head, trying to decipher the seriousness behind his tone. "Everyone?" she asked, suspicion creeping into her voice. "Are we talking friends, family, or extraterrestrial?" Leo laughed, the sound warm and teasing. "Close, but not that close." He paused for dramatic effect, obviously relishing the suspense. "We're bringing Steve home today." "Steve?" Daisy echoed. "Who's Steve? Is he a friend? A distant cousin you forgot to tell me about? A tax auditor? No, 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 Leo said, shaking his head and chuckling. Steve isn't human. Daisy blinked. Not human? Leo. She set her tea down and stared at him with mock suspicion. Are we adopting an alien? Because I swear, if you've joined some interstellar cult without telling me, we're going to have a problem. Leo grinned, reached behind the sofa, and produced a small, scruffy box. He held it out like a precious artifact. Steve is already here, he announced. Daisy's heart skipped a beat as she leaned forward. The box rattled slightly. Steve is in a box? Yes, Leo said, the corners of his eyes crinkling with excitement. I picked him up from the shelter this morning. Isn't he adorable? Daisy froze, momentarily speechless. Then the box shifted, and a small, velvety paw emerged, followed by a wet, curious nose. A soft, playful mew followed, high-pitched and insistent. Oh my gosh, Leo! Daisy gasped, the words tumbling out before she could filter them. She bent forward, carefully lifting the small, gray tabby kitten from the box. His green eyes blinked up at her, wide and innocent, and he let out a tiny, almost imperceptible purr. Meet Steve, Leo said proudly, our newest family member. Daisy laughed, a sound of pure delight. Steve, she repeated, rolling the name around her tongue. He's perfect. I can't believe you didn't tell me sooner. He's amazing. Leo shrugged, grinning. I wanted it to be a surprise. I mean, come on, look at him. Who could resist? Daisy cradled Steve in her arms, feeling the warmth of her tiny body against her chest. The kitten nuzzled her neck, and she felt an unexpected wave of tenderness wash over her. I can already tell he's going to be spoiled, she said, glancing up at Leo with a sly smile. But, okay, let's see if he survives living with us first. Over the next few hours, Steve explored every inch of their apartment with the curiosity of a tiny adventurer. Daisy and Leo followed him like paparazzi, documenting each playful leap, tentative sniff, and dramatic tumble. He discovered the couch first, stretching lazily across the cushions before pouncing on an abandoned sock. Then the kitchen became his territory, where he batted at dangling dish towels and nearly launched himself into the dishwasher. Daisy laughed so hard she nearly spilled her coffee 3 times. This little guy is going to be trouble, Leo said, rubbing the back of his neck. I think he's already claimed the apartment as his kingdom. Daisy shook her head, still smiling. No, this isn't just trouble. This is adorable trouble, and I think I'm falling for him. Steve, apparently agreeing with her assessment, crawled into her lap and began kneading the fabric of her jeans with his tiny claws. The sound of his purring was rhythmic and calming, almost hypnotic. Daisy glanced at Leo, who had a look of contentment that made her heart swell. You know, Leo said thoughtfully, I think Steve chose you first. I mean, he's already made himself comfortable, and he's purring like crazy. He knows where he belongs. Daisy looked down at Steve, who blinked slowly at her, as if confirming the sentiment. She laughed softly. Well, I guess that makes me the official cat parent then. Leo reached over and wrapped an arm around her shoulders. Officially, yes, but we're in this together. Family of 3, me, you, and Steve. Daisy's heart melted. She leaned against him, Steve still nestled in her lap, and felt a perfect kind of happiness, the kind that was quiet, steady, and filled with warmth. For the first time in a long time, she felt that their little home was complete. That evening, Daisy and Leo decided to introduce Steve to the ritual that had always been sacred in their apartment, movie night. They set up a cozy nest of blankets and pillows on the floor, popcorn within reach, and Steve at the center of it all. The kitten, undeterred by the flashing lights and occasional sounds from the TV, simply curled up in Daisy's lap, occasionally batting at the moving images with a tiny paw. You know, Daisy said softly, glancing at Leo, I think he's going to fit in perfectly. I mean, look at him. He's already the king of comfort. Leo smiled and handed her a bowl of popcorn. And the king of mischief, he added. I have a feeling our lives are about to get a lot more interesting. Steve yawned, tiny fangs just visible, and snuggled closer into Daisy's arms. The world outside the apartment melted away. For that moment, all that mattered was the soft purring, the warmth of companionship, and the quiet joy of welcoming a new life into their home. Days turned into weeks, and Steve became an inseparable part of Daisy and Leo's lives. He had his favorite spots on the couch, a particular fascination with the dangling cords of the blinds, and a habit of stealing socks from the laundry pile. Daisy would often find herself laughing uncontrollably at his antics, while Leo documented the chaos for their social media accounts, tagging it with hashtags like Steve the Great and Cat Kingdom. One evening, as Daisy prepared dinner, Steve leapt onto the counter, surveying her progress with an air of regal authority. "You're supposed to be helping, not supervising," Daisy said, smiling down at him. Steve meowed indignantly, as if replying, "I am supervising. It's my duty." Leo, leaning against the doorframe with a glass of wine, laughed. "I think he's already trained you, Daisy." Daisy shook her head, feeling the full weight of happiness. "I don't even mind. He's part of the family now. Steve has officially won." As Steve settled into his little bed that night, purring softly, Daisy and Leo exchanged a look of contentment. They had entered this adventure with curiosity and a hint of nervousness, but now they couldn't imagine their lives without their little bundle of energy. "Family of 3, Daisy whispered, reaching over to squeeze Leo's hand. "Family of 3, he echoed, as Steve's soft purrs filled the quiet apartment. And in that moment, everything felt perfectly, undeniably right.